If you were into mobile gaming around the early 2010s, then the name Infinity Blade most likely rings some bells. Infinity Blade was developed to show off the power of mobile devices at the time, by running on Unreal Engine 3. It was developed by Chair Entertainment and Epic Games. All you Fortnite players might recognize that name. The game featured simple controls, but in-depth progression. The later titles would continue this trend of pushing mobile gaming to its limits in the mid-2010s. Unfortunately, due to issues with updating the game and other legal difficulties, the game and its 2 sequels would be taken off the App Store and never available again. It would remain playable on devices that had it installed, but after some years, the software would become so outdated it wouldn't even launch unless you did some workarounds. Thankfully, the game had such a large fan base in its prime that some people were able to use devices that still had the software installed and port it to PC with great effort. Last year, the first game, Infinity Blade, was ported to PC, and the second was recently ported as well, with the third being worked on right now, I believe. Since I was a huge fan of this game, and was upset I could no longer play it for the last few years, I was overjoyed when I heard the news it had been ported. Even though I'm a little late to the party, I wanted to celebrate the revival of Infinity Blade by doing something I'd never done before. I wanted to complete the first game in the series, or at least defeating the first main boss of the game, without leveling up and without upgrading any of my gear. For those of you who don't know how Infinity Blade works, here's a basic explanation of the game. In the game, you fight enemies known as Titans. These Titans have a sort of turn-based mechanic. The Titans will throw a few attacks, and the player has a choice to either dodge, parry, or block those attacks. Upon succeeding in evading these attacks, the Titan will be broken and allow the player to deal damage. The player can also scratch the Titan, which does very little damage, but can be done at any time. Once the Titan is broken, the player can swing their sword in any direction to deal damage, but can also perform combos for extra damage. The player also gets 2 abilities to use at any time and have a cooldown. First is the Super, which immediately breaks the Titan and allows the player a window to attack, and after use, can be charged by dealing damage or taking damage. Second is the Magic ability, which charges passively over time and can charge faster by leveling up your magic stat. There are many spells you can perform that range from elemental damage types such as fire, shock, poison, etc., and the ability to heal yourself. The Titans also have moves called stepbacks, in which they perform a special attack that is a combination of fast, unblockable, or undodgeable attacks to mix the player up. These attacks make the player utilize blocking, dodging, and parrying all at once to survive. Upon being defeated, the Titans reward XP, which fills up the XP bar on each of your gear slots. Each piece of gear has a cap on how much XP you can earn, meaning you'll have to switch gear at some point. Upon beating the game, the player can add another level to each piece of gear, allowing it to receive more XP and thus infinite leveling. Each time you die or complete the game, you also go to what's called the next bloodline, allowing for harder enemies, higher money gains, and higher XP gains. However, for my run, I was going to use none of this. I would only use the base starting gear, which is the worst in the entire game. I would also not level up in any way, meaning I would get no extra damage, magic, health, blocking, etc. And I would stay on Bloodline 1 to make sure I got absolutely no advantage on progression whatsoever. This is not how the game is meant to be played, obviously. But seeing as how I'd become a veteran player when I was younger, I figured this would be the perfect challenge, so that's what I did. So I went through the tutorial, fought the few first tutorial enemies, and made sure not to level up or use any new gear I got. Once I started the actual enemies, I showed myself I still remember how to play well for the most part. Most enemies were not a struggle as the game scaled them properly since I was only on Bloodline 1. However, the main boss, the God King, who I'll refer to as Radriar since that's his real name as we later find out in the other games, he has a static level, which starts at level 50, and it gets raised by 50 each time you defeat him. There are some DLC bosses that level 100 times each time you defeat them, but I'm not entirely sure on that. I won't be doing those in this video. Anyways, since Radriar had such a huge level advantage on me, my attacks and super were next to worthless against him. He had around 1400 HP, while I did about 5 damage on my normal hits, and maxed out about 15 with my ultra hits, which I could only get in 1 time every time he got broken. So this was obviously going to take a long time. Except, thankfully, Radriar was not immune to ice damage, which is the only damage type that my ring and magic can do. I forgot to mention that in later Bloodlines or New Game Plus, Titans can become immune to certain damage types, but anyways, this would be crucial, as my magic would deal 100 damage to Radriar, meaning I had to rely on my magic to do any real damage. My magic would take about a minute to recharge in between uses, so I would just try to get in as much damage as I could. When Radriar defeats you, he also sends you to the next Bloodline, which I wasn't allowing, so I would just force quit my game each time I did die, to ensure I didn't go to the next bloodline. I was able to keep getting Radriar to the last section of his fight, but would always come just short. So after many attempts and refining my skills after not playing the game in years, I was finally able to take him down. Here's how the fight went. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw the kitchen sink at him right away. Super here. Magic right after. Now we just coast for a while. God, those clashes are so hard against him. Okay, we already took out a lot of his health already. We just gotta not get hit into the last phase here. What? Dude, come on. That was the right way. You gotta be kidding me. Sorry, gotta unalive you to win, bro. You're coming in clutch as always. Yo, I'm actually not failing the clashes this time. Get our super again. Ultra hits are our only real source of damage at this point. Okay, I'm not messing up my parries, that's good. God, I hate this camera angle. Okay, here we go, last phase. We're gonna magic instantly. Oh wow, I didn't think I was gonna get that clash. Ow, okay. Super here. Almost there, come on. Okay, so he's at 83, one magic, and he's done. Almost got magic back. Ooh, okay, that was close. Let's go, finally. Oh my god. Oh, I paused the game on accident, my bad. I've been trying for like an hour, man. With that, we did it and finished the main boss, without leveling up or upgrading our gear in any way. I might want to try this with the second game, but the second game is much longer, so you guys let me know what you think of that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and please let me know if you liked the video or not, as it helps me out immensely. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're watching this, and take it easy, guys.